Everyone, welcome back. I'm excited you have joined us for this lesson on ways to sustain the positive lifestyle changes you have learned through completion of this online mini-series. Before we begin, please reflect back on your previous weeks. There are definitely struggles we have all faced, but there are also many successes we must emphasize. Don't move forward until you're able to remember some of these successes. Building off of the positive will help drive your success in the future. I will touch on the learning objectives that you will be familiar with after completion of this program. You will be able to recognize that everyone has negative thoughts and identify examples of them. Learn how to stop negative thoughts and talk back to them with positive ones. Identify some things that cause a participant to slip from healthy eating or being active. Discuss what to do after a slip to get back on your feet. List and describe the 5-step process to problem solving. Apply the 5 problem-solving steps to resolve a problem revolving around food or being inactive. Recognize positive and negative social cues and understand ways to replace problem social cues with positive ones. So let's begin. I want you to take a moment and think about something that is very important to you, something that you take care of daily, make a top priority, ensuring it has everything it needs to live, run, work properly. For example, is it your children, your marriage, your significant other, your partner, your car, your home, your job, your pet? There are many issues that prevent us from making ourselves a priority. It is these issues that keep us from achieving goals or reaching our fullest potential. It is not unusual to engage in negative self-talk as a result of not reaching personal goals, whether they are fitness-related, diet-related, health-related, work-related, relationship-related, etc. When we do not view ourselves as a top priority and we continue to put everything else in front of ourselves, achieving goals is nearly impossible. This is where self-talk becomes a problem. It's time for you to be a top priority. Once we fail to achieve goals we set for ourselves, even brief goals we may discuss, such as, man, I would love to be able to make all my own meals because I know it's healthier than eating out, or I would love to run that 5K downtown with my coworkers next week. We begin to instill a sense of negativity in ourselves. Over time, this becomes self-defeating. Negative thoughts are thoughts that cause us to lose hope or stand in the way of our progress. It is usually a criticism of ourselves. Everyone has negative thoughts. There is a vicious cycle of self-defeat. Negative thoughts lead us to overeat or be inactive. After we overeat or when it's too late to go for a walk, we feel discouraged about reaching our goals. This leads to more negative thoughts. As negative thoughts lead us into behaving in an unhealthy way, that behavior in turn leads us to another negative thought. We are beginning to spiral into this vicious cycle of self-defeat. We all have overate, indulged far too much, many more times than we can even count. For many of us, this brings upon a sense of guilt and self-defeat. It is easy to rationalize further defeating behaviors. I've already ate 2 pieces of cake tonight. Why does it matter if I have more candy at this point? With this form of thinking, the vicious cycle continues. On the other hand, by intentionally recognizing these thoughts as negative criticisms of ourselves, we can begin to ingrain new forms of thinking into our routine and break the cycle of self-defeat. I've already had 2 pieces of cake today, and you know what? I'm not going to eat candy being offered because I know I don't need it. It will not help me achieve my goals, and I can start now with making healthy choices. A slip is a deviation from your goal. They are learned habits, making them difficult to avoid completely. Everyone slips, and they slip often. Please take a minute to really reflect on the bold text on this slide. Your response to a slip is a choice you can control. Slips happen. They happen every day. Let's review different techniques you may use to get back on your feet after a slip. After a slip, tuck back to negative thoughts with positive ones. I'm not a failure because I slipped. I will choose to get back on my feet again. Ask yourself what happened. Was it a special occasion? Did I overeat because I was lonely, bored? Was there social pressure to overeat? Did I skip activity because I was too busy? Regain control as soon as you can. Make the next meal healthy. Go for a walk the next possible free moment. Talk to someone supportive. Focus on all the positive changes you've made and realize you can get back on track. It will be important to understand which one of these responses will work best for you and help you regain control as soon as possible after a slip. As previously mentioned, slips occur primarily out of habit. Your response to a slip is also habit. You can learn a new way to react to a slip, creating new positive habits. No one time of slipping via overeating or not being active, no matter how extreme, will ruin everything. You will not gain more than a few pounds of weight, even after the biggest binge eating imaginable. However, if you stay off track and keep overeating time and time again, you will lose progress. It is so important to remember that no one single slip defines you, defines your successes, or ruins your pursuit of your goals. Remember, every slip is an opportunity to respond in a manner that enforces new, healthy habits. So let's review. Describe one thing that caused you to slip from healthy eating this past week. Can you avoid that in the future? If so, how? Jot this down on your notes page. If you're not sure you can avoid it, plan to get back on your feet the next time you How do you plan to get back on your feet the next time you slip? Let's review. You went out to dinner with friends. You didn't plan ahead and look at the menu to see if there was anything that aligned with your goals. Therefore, you ended up ordering something that was not in line with your goals. How can you prevent this next time? Describe one thing that caused you to slip from being active. Can you avoid it in the future? If so, how will you do it? If you're not sure you can avoid it, plan how to get back on your feet the next time you slip. We are now going to spend the next several minutes reviewing the 5-step process that eases the process of problem solving. We all encounter multiple problems daily. Some days are worse than others. We typically solve problems based on previous experiences, our personal idea of what needs to happen or should happen, and out of habitual behavior. These ingrained techniques may not always be the most efficient way to problem solve with the idea of maintaining our health-related goals. Here are the 5 basic steps for efficient problem solving. Step 1. Describe the problem. Be as detailed as possible. Step 2. Brainstorm options for problem solving. No option is too silly or too outlandish. Write them all down. Step 3. Pick an option to try. Step 4. Make a positive action plan and put the option into effect. Step 5. Try it. We will review each step in more detail in the next several slides. We will also go over an example when reviewing each step in detail. Step 1. Describing the problem. We will review an example now involving Miss Jones. Mrs. Jones did not have time to eat during her busy day at work. Later in the workday, her boss was demanding and critical of her recent work on a project. This created a great deal of stress for Miss Jones. When she got home, she was overly hungry and dug into the first thing she saw in the kitchen, a bag of chips. Before she knew it, half the chips were gone. It is important to recognize the links in this action chain that led to the unhealthy choice of eating half a bag of chips. What were the links? Let's review. Skipping lunch. Becoming stressed. Recognizing the links is an important step to discovering the reason for the unhealthy choices, and it will allow you to break the chain before unhealthy actions are the result. Step 2. Brainstorm options. What are all the possible solutions for the problem? Write down all of your ideas. No matter how extreme or silly they may seem, anything goes. The more ideas, the better. What were all the possible solutions for Mrs. Jones? Let's list some. She could choose not to buy chips. She could work through her stress before leaving work by talking to her boss or getting support from a coworker. She could bring her lunch or keep healthy snacks at her desk so she does not have to go out for her food. She could go for a walk to unwind or do some physical activity she enjoys as soon as she gets home. She could quit her job and find a less stressful one. She could start her own business so she would be the boss. On to step 3, picking an option to try. Weigh the pros and cons of each option, then choose the one that is best for you and aligns with your goals. Tips for helping you choose the right option. Be realistic. Combine several options to create one thorough, detailed plan. Try to choose an option that breaks as many links in the action chain as possible. And step 4, make a positive action plan and put it into effect. Answer these questions when developing your action plan. What will you do? When will you do it? What you need to do first? How will you handle any roadblocks that arise? Remember, problem solving is a process. Don't give up. It often takes many tries to find the solution. And therein lies step 5. Try it. If your solution works, great. If it doesn't work, problem solve again and create a new action plan. A common problem many of us face is not having enough time in our busy work week to exercise. Let's work through this example as a class. What is a common way around the issue of time constraint? Go through the 5-step process on your notes page and develop an action plan that will help you solve the problem of how to incorporate physical activity into your daily work week. Does this include taking trips up a stairs instead of using an elevator? Does this include taking a 30-minute walk on your lunch break? What works best for you? Now we're going to talk about social cues. Social cues are words or actions by others that affect our eating and activity. There are 2 types of social cues: problem or negative social cues, helpful or positive social cues. By learning how to replace problem social cues with helpful ones, you'll be working towards your health-related goals at a rapid rate. As you can see on this slide, there are 3 ways to get negative social cues to work for you and help align with your activity and food goals. You can divert negative social cues in these 3 ways. Stay away from them. Change the cue when possible. Respond differently to the cue. We will discuss each one of these in slightly more detail on the following slides. Avoid negative cues if possible. One of the most powerful problem social cues is the sight of other people eating problem foods or being inactive. Avoiding such situations can be helpful, but may not always be an option. Avoiding cues can be accomplished by skipping certain parties or events where you know there will be too much temptation. Move to a different room if you are at a gathering where there is problem foods. Don't mingle or socialize near the appetizer table. Arrange gatherings so eating is not the main focus, i.e., bowling, movie, dancing, shopping. If you're eating out with a group, be the first to order your meal. It may be easier to order a healthy meal before listening to others potentially order unhealthy meals that are not geared towards your goals. Have a plan when you go out. Look at the menu ahead of time and find a meal that is in line with your goals. Changing the cue when possible. Changing the cue means you are influencing another person's habits. This can be accomplished in many different ways. Choose to be social in a setting that supports your goals. Offer these settings to friends and family. For example, meet friends and family for a hike rather than for lunch or coffee. Confront the problem cue. If a person nags or attempts to pressure you to eat problem foods, brainstorm solutions with your friends or family members to help you achieve success. For example, explain to a person, "It's really hard when you eat French fries in front of me. They are really tempting for me and I am focused on my health-related goals right now. Is there any way we could have fun but not eat French fries?" Be willing to compromise to come to a mutual agreed upon solution. Show others you know they mean well, even by offering problem foods, by suggesting something they can do to help you. For example, say, "Thank you so much for offering. I'd really like to wait before deciding if I would like some more food to eat." Another option on how to change a social cue is by bringing a healthy snack to a party or a gathering. That way you have a healthy option to revert to if needed. If you can't stay away from the problem social cue or change it, practice responding to it in a more healthy way. Over time, you will build a new, healthier habit, and others around you will learn a new habit as well because of your new response. Practice saying no to problem foods that are offered to you. Role playing prior to a party will help you be successful. If you are consistent and continue to say no, people will eventually stop offering. Stay positive. Think of every social event as an opportunity to learn what works for you and what does not. Remember, you are building a healthy new habit for a lifetime. Adding helpful social cues is a great way to encourage yourself and stay focused on your goals. You can kickstart and maintain your success by personally adding in social cues that drive you towards your goals. Examples of how to add positive social cues into your life. 1. Spend time with people who are active and make healthy choices. 2. Put yourself in places where people are active. Join a gym, join a local walking, running, hiking club, find a mom's group. You will develop a camaraderie with these people and feel supported with your efforts to be active. Number 3, offer healthy suggestions for parties and gatherings. Suggest playing games instead of eating, offering to bring healthy snacks of food if food must be included. Ask a friend to call and remind you to be active. So let's recap. Here's a summary of the take-home messages from today's lesson on how to sustain the positive lifestyle changes you have learned through this mini-series. Set yourself up for success. Remember, slips are normal and happen to everyone. The important lesson is learning to regain control as soon as possible after the slip. Focus on all the positive changes you have made and realize that you can get back on track. Talk to someone supportive. Have a support person you can talk to when feeling down. Remember, you can do this. You have goals for a reason, and they are worth fighting for.